This was a good week of chapters, even if it was a bit late. So with that, here's the spoiler warning, and we're starting off with One Piece, chapter 1021. And this was a good chapter, having the conclusion of the Robin versus Black Maria fight, as well as a very pivotal decision being discussed. So the chapter starts off where it left off, with Robin going for a big attack on Black Maria, trying to use her usual attacks and moves to win the fight. At first it looks like it's pretty good until Black Maria gets the upper hand, attacking, cutting up Robin's copied arms. They keep going back and forth a bit until Black Maria gets the upper hand and starts beating down on the giant version of Robin to hurt the real Robin. Robin continues to try to attack, but Black Maria keeps using fire to stop Robin. They keep going back and forth, with Black Maria bad-mouthing Robin as well as Sanji. Brook then tells Black Maria that it's not a good thing to be taunting Robin and that she should be running for her life. Black Maria ignores this advice and continues to attack, going all out against Robin, where we get the Robin flashback where we see Koala and Sabo trying to teach Robin how to do a palm strike to better protect herself. Robin initially says no, but then wants to be taught how to do a palm strike. The two are very happy. We cut back to the fight where Robin is still getting pretty beaten down, but is very glad she did learn how to do the palm strike because it's already helped them several times. It continues to show interludes of her learning the palm strike and even a special fishman palm strike, where then we see that she uses said palm strike to break the ceiling to stop the fire. Black Maria is a bit upset by this, and then is more shocked as Robin pulls out her ultimate weapon, as it would seem, as she was able to turn into some sort of devil form. She made herself giant, or made a giant form that looks like a devil, and grabs onto Black Maria and seemingly breaks her back, neck, something. Dislocates her and knocks her unconscious. Black Maria at the time was very afraid of what was happening and tried to run away, but was caught by Devil Robin. The three assistants that Black Maria had try to figure out what's going on, but a wall of ice was blocking their view, except for one crack in the middle where they were able to see through and see Black Maria lost. At that same moment, the ice breaks and Brook thanks them for standing right in a row, and he then uses his own sort of special move that knocks them all unconscious. Robin, however, after using such a big move, is now extremely tired. We then cut down to Luffy and see that Caribou was able to give him all the food he had stored up into himself, which for him was about a month's worth, and Luffy starts eating it like crazy. Caribou still wants to leave, and then the Heart Pirates ask Luffy what's going on with Law. Luffy tries to talk with his mouth full, but it doesn't really work. It then cuts to Momo, who then asks Shinobu if she is able to use her ability to make him older and make him stronger in a way. Shinobu initially refuses, or at least, if anything, throughout this chapter, refuses to help him do so, for it's not reversible. Thus, he's giving up aging. He will be a child inside of an adult's body. But Momo insists and wants to help in any way he can. So that was the chapter. I thought it was very good. Overall, I'd give this chapter a B. I see a lot of other people are very high on it. I think it was good, especially the Robin and Black Maria fight, which was an excellent fight that had a satisfying conclusion. Now, with however this keeps going, again, predicting is not my strong suit, it would seem. I still think there might be a round 2 for everyone, and in this case, for them, that would be very interesting for Black Maria versus Robin, as I don't know who would win in that rematch. But for now, that was a good one for her, and the decision that Momo is making is very interesting as well, because if I had to guess, what's going to happen is that when he turns into an adult, he'll look like Odin, at least enough of him that they can disguise him as Odin and then really freak out Kaido. So when they return up to Onigashima and Luffy drops off, Momo will turn back into his adult normal form, and Kaido will see Odin and start freaking out and trying to attack him. This will give both Yamato and Luffy an opening to keep attacking Kaido. And for my money, that is where Kaido will quote-unquote lose round 2. thus destroying the island, all thanks to Momo just looking like Odin in the end. But we'll have to see if it actually goes through next week. I think it's a fine decision to do this because, I mean, if you really look at Odin, how adult was he? In a manner of speaking. So I don't think it really affects Momo all that much in sort of the grand scheme of things. So now we're on to Black Clover, chapter 302. And this was a good chapter, having everyone fight Magna as best they can and still not necessarily having enough until the very end, where it might change the outcome of this battle. But the chapter starts with Noelle charging in, now having her Saint stage form back in place, Asta being surprised and in awe of Noelle's new power. Undyne tells Noelle that they don't have much power left to deal with the soldiers, when we see that Rill paints another giant portrait, this time of Zeus, and destroys a lot of the soldiers in her way. We then see that Charlotte does the same, making a giant spear out of her briars and shoots it towards the soldiers. Magna is getting excited, seeing how further these humans continue to evolve in terms of battle, combining many of her soldiers together to make even more soldiers to completely take out the two attacks that are coming her way, and blocking Noelle's path once again. This time, however, Luck arrived to destroy the monster that was in Noelle's path, and tells Noelle to follow him as he'll clear the way for her. Rill's getting more and more inspired and keeps getting excited by the whole thing, and mentions that if they had one more lightning user, everything would be a lot stronger. When Gaja gets back up, saying that he's pretty much done, but he at least can fight for one more time to save Lola Pachika. Luck then goes down by Gaja, and they send out their super lightning attacks. That completely clears the way and incinerates Magna again. Noelle goes in for the killing blow against Magna heart, only for a cursed spell, shield, to block Noelle. Noelle tries to push through but can't, and Magna is shocked that even in her incomplete form, that they were able to do this much against her. But that's as far as they go. When liquid metal shields block the deadly attack that Magna was going to attack Noelle with, protecting Noelle, and we see that Nezel arrived, looking forward to the vengeance he can wreak against Magna as he remembered that Magna killed their mother. That was the chapter. I thought it was a very good chapter, and overall I'd give that chapter a B. Said chapter 3 times there. With the fight continuing and everyone working together, I think that's what makes Black Clover kind of entertaining compared to a lot of the other ones, is that a lot of the major villain fights, they don't tend to go one-on-one unless you're someone super powerful like Yami or Vengeance or any of the really top tier guys. A lot of the villains need multiple people to take them down. And especially in this case, it's now taking them, 8 almost? I mean, you got Gaja, Luck, Charlotte, Rill, Asta to a slight degree, Noelle, and now Nezel, all trying to take down Magna And with the arrival of Nezel, I'm a bit more confident now that the heroes can win, but that only boosts their chances to 50-50. I still don't see this going as well as the heroes hope. So we'll end up seeing, but with his arrival, it adds at least one more layer to extending this battle. We'll see if it succeeds or if Magna succeeds and wins. So now we're on to Undead Unluck, chapter 74, and this was a good chapter. It didn't go quite how I thought it would, but it's still not a bad chapter. So the chapter starts with us seeing Chikara, I think Top, the speed negator guy, and Titania all seemingly training in Titania's padded room as they're gearing up and really trying to go all out to help get Noelle back. As we see, they're still trying to train and everything. We see Shen and Mew are also training as well in seemingly the same room. As then it cuts to Andy, who is trying to make plans on how they're going to attack Under. But Juiz arrives and asks him why he looks so pensive, and asks to help him. They then have a decently long talk about how they need to figure out matchups and that the Under guys are all very strong and professionals in what they do, where the Union members are all young and inexperienced. He himself isn't strong enough to basically be by everyone's side to protect them, and he is afraid that they might lose people. So he's trying to strategize to make it where everyone makes it out alive. When Juiz laughs, and that Victor was much the same way, in that he tried to protect everyone by being the shield for them. Juiz then said he was always the same no matter what loop they went through, and so Andy is very similar in that way. She reminisces that when Billy blew off her arm, it served as a reminder that she's actually been protected all this time, and now this is the first time she's not, and that people can't accomplish things on their own, not completely, even survive, and especially not killing God. Juiz says that's why she formed the Union with Victor, to assemble teammates and to grow stronger so they can accomplish their goal. And that together, nothing is impossible. She then says that Andy and Fuko gave her more perspective, and that despite all the hardships, they grew stronger and trusted one another. And because of that, the rest of the group grew stronger together as well, and they're all in it to save Fuko, and that they would like to help him get her back. And she finishes by asking him to believe in them, and that this is the best group the organization has ever seen, and telling him that he is a member of the organization too. Andy then says that this is a pretty sick organization. Juiz agrees, and then Juiz then helps him with the plan. We then see that it's the date of the operation, December 24th, and the Union has arrived. Andy says that they have to locate their target and lead them to the designed area. He then continues saying Juiz and him worked themselves to the bone to devise the best matchups for everyone, so there's nothing to worry about. And we see some of those matchups with Tella versus Nico, Bunny, Rip, and Latala versus Mew, Shin, and Titania, Chikara and Top versus Creed, and then we just see them all making their way towards it. We see some of those matchups before, and then the final page is just that they start their assault and that they're ready to go. That was the chapter. I thought it was very good. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was, again, good. It skipped over quite a lot, because, again, I don't remember if they gave the date of when Fuko got caught and everything. Like, I don't know when it was supposed to be. It seems relatively quick. All of this happened. Unless it goes and we see Fuko learning more about the rest of the undermembers, this feels like a wasted opportunity. Not the worst decision, just to go right into the big battle phase, but I don't love the decision personally. I think there was a lot more meat on the bone to go and learn what Fuko is up to and everything, and leave this portion of it unknown. But to go the reverse angle is not the worst thing. Again, maybe it was just literally a week and it wasn't that much time they had to plan, so it's not like we missed anything. I don't know. It's a little difficult to tell, but for now we're getting the big battle sooner rather than later. And the first match of Under versus the Union has begun. Now we're on to Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 73, and this was a good chapter where we see everyone relaxing before we end up hearing the next obstacle, and it might be Mash's greatest obstacle. So the chapter starts with the mage supposedly in control of the giant monster being taken down by Orter. When Keldo arrives and sees that the mage is subdued, Orter and Keldo get into a disagreement, as Orter thinks Keldo's on Mash's side when he still very much doesn't accept him. Keldo denies being on Mash's side, but says that his strength is the real deal and that they can use him. It then cuts to several days later as the news of Innocent Zero's appearance spread quickly, but the official story was that the Divine Visionaries were able to drive him away, though many doubted that. Following the event, the Bureau wanted to strengthen up their security and stop the misinformation. Mash was the only one who knew the truth and was at the center of it, and he was burdened with the knowledge, before it then cut to them at the beach. Everyone there with their friends, they're all hanging out. They all admit that they've never been to the beach with friends before, when Lemon is saying that none of them are exactly winners, as they're all a bunch of dorks. Finn asks what they're supposed to do. When Dot suggests they smash some melons, Mash agrees, but then Dot pulls out a slaughter melon, which is just a watermelon with really gross tentacles on it, and then the watermelon attaches to Mash's face and starts draining its blood. Finn's horrified, but Dot ends up just his eyes get devoid of life after he says that life is just struggling. Mash then smashes the watermelon onto the ground, basically headbutting the ground, and asks if they just eat it. Finn refuses to, and Dot says that they are. Mash and Dot are playing in the water as the rest of them are discussing the events that just happened, how Finn can't believe Innocent Zero is Mash's dad, and Lance thinks Mash was always in an unfavorable position, so this is nothing new for him. That they're going to make him take the fall for it, even though it's not his fault, and he wants to make an actual peace for everyone, and blah, blah, blah. The headmaster ends up being there at the beach also, and they ask why he's there, and asks that isn't he injured when he spits out blood, and he refuses to leave because summer only comes once a year, so he's staying to enjoy summer, I guess. He then explains that Mash will never know peace until he defeats Innocent Zero, and tells how strong Innocent Zero is, and that it's no exaggeration to say he's the strongest mage in history, and that he is not the only one Mash needs to worry about, as Innocent Zero is guarded by his 5 other sons, Mash's 5 siblings, each of them being a top-class mage in their own right, so they're all equal to strength, or even greater than many of the other fighters he's versed, or even as strong as Innocent Zero himself, so they're in for quite the battle to come. Wahlberg then says that if they don't stop him, it means the end of the world, especially as Innocent Zero just continues to amass power. Their chances of victory is nearly 0 if things were normal, but things are never normal with Mash around because of his training, intense power, toughness, and physical absurd strength. His strength might be the key in breaking the strongest magics. And then he pulls out some really, really strong math saying either he wins or he loses. He's got a 50-50 shot at doing either one. But with his muscles, he has never lost, and thus he's bumped up to 100% of winning. Lemon just accepts it, and Finn is confused. Wahlberg sees the display as more of his boundless optimism and his desire to help the weak, and him being just genuinely strong. So he's hoping that Mash will complete what he couldn't. He then says he's counting on Mash. Mash says that that's his plan and that he wants to graduate with everyone. But then Lance informs him of the hard truth that the end of the semester test is coming up, and Mash is one failing grade away from being expelled. Mash is very much concerned, and that's so very funny. So that was the chapter. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. Overall, I'd give it a B. It was fun, silly nonsense that Mash just basically is. The whole series basically is. It's interesting that they put the victory on the Divine Visionaries just to keep the fact that Mash is who he is kind of a secret still, knowing that he would cause more problems if everyone knew what he was now. But then being at the beach and just having a beach episode in the middle of everything, I think is rather funny. And Mash now having to go and learn to not fail, that I think is going to be a very fun and silly arc to go for. Maybe it'll just be a gag arc for a little bit to let things cool off before you start building towards the next whatever. Introduce a new character here or there, maybe another villain. You can do really a lot of things if it goes with the gag version for a little while, gag arc. So now we're on to Sakamoto Days, chapter 34. And this was a good chapter. It introduced a new villain, and probably Sakamoto and Shin's greatest challenge to date. The chapter starts with all of them hanging out, and Lo asks what they like better, cats or dogs. Shin likes dogs. Sakamoto says animals don't like him. Pisuke is sad that he is the bottom of the totem pole, and we find out that Shin can read animals' thoughts as well before he picks up Pisuke's spirits by saying he likes birds too. Lo is surprised that Shin can also read animal thoughts, as well as Sakamoto is surprised by this. Someone came to Japan looking for a certain person. It then cuts again to the gang going to some mom and pop restaurant where they're enjoying themselves and having some fun. Lo makes a bet with Shin to choose a drink. One's a regular Coke and the other one's a special blend, but he can't use his mind reading powers and he ends up losing the bet, so he has to pay for the bill. They're all just hanging out saying how their life was so different before, but they're all really enjoying the new calm life they all live, and they all really don't want to go back to their old lives when the guy we saw earlier getting off the plane ends up attacking Shin and Sakamoto, or his men do. Sakamoto blocks the bullet with a fork and then flips him over the table. Shin just knocks out the guy who's threatening him. We see that Sakamoto flipped him onto like the ordering bell, and so Sakamoto ordered a soda, which the guy he just flipped over mocks him about. When Lo recognizes him, and we find out his name is Wu-Tang, and we see that he's a part of the triad that Lo's family runs, or did run before her parents died. Sakamoto and Shin are confused when Wu-Tang just ignores the two of them and asks Lo to return to the triad, but she says no because she doesn't want to do it. The guy then has a massive nosebleed, which bleeds all over her, and we see what type of character he is. Lu is not happy with being sprayed blood on. Like, she's not happy about it. Shin tries to wipe the blood off, but it's still there slightly. She even comments that he's always been following her around and it's weird, but he's flattered that she's noticed him all that time. Lo does not want to join the triad again and wants to stay a regular customer at Sakamoto's, but Wu-Tang won't let it go and decides to challenge Sakamoto. Sakamoto and Shin are ready, thinking that it's going to be a fight, when Wu-Tang absolutely has no interest in fighting them and decides to propose a different battle with Lo as the prize. They say no, initially saying that they're just going to go beat him up anyway and get it over with. Wu-Tang then informs them that he has information on who set the bounty against them, against Sakamoto, and that if they don't play this game, they won't get the information. Shin asks Sakamoto, and Sakamoto just says no, they'll get it some other way, and that they're not giving up Lo. But much to their surprise, Lo says yes to the fight, so they give him the information, and that she knows that if they lose, she has to go back to China. She, however, says that she's a part of Sakamoto's now, and she's willing to put her skin on the line for Sakamoto, which Wu-Tang is perverse and weird. He then tells them to follow him. They get to some seemingly abandoned factory area, maybe just a big building, and Wu-Tang then tells them to get dressed because they need to be a bit more fancy to enter this place. For then we see it's an underground casino, and the contest is whoever wins the most money within the allotted time wins. Sakamoto and Shin understand as it's not physical strength, but it's just gambling. Sakamoto says they shouldn't worry, they have Shin's mind reading, and that they should be fine, but the problem is that neither Sakamoto nor Shin know how to play any of these games. And then Lo realizes the trouble they're in because Wu-Tang may not be physically strong, but he's very sharp and very intelligent. And then we see that he's already won 3 million yen within a few minutes. So that's the problem. They have to raise money, and they have no idea how to do so, while another guy is gambling quite efficiently and already making quite a bit of money. So that was the chapter. I thought it was good. Overall, I'd give it a B. It was good to see another new arc, though I don't particularly love that Lo's in trouble for the third time, where she's like not the damsel in distress, because I have a feeling she'll end up being very good at this whole thing. Maybe they lose, maybe they do what I had initially thought, which is basically going around and roughing up people and taking their money, which I think would be really funny, as you could just see Sakamoto and Shin kind of taking people's money left, right, and center, while Wu-Tang is actually winning it, though he might be cheating in his own way. Who knows? But we'll end up seeing if they actually win or lose. I don't think it was a bad decision to do this, but we'll end up finding out. But yeah, that was all the chapters. I think they were all very good, though again, nothing really stood out. I guess One Piece, just because it keeps moving so quickly, having a conclusive end to a fight, as well as a big decision for the next chapter. Also, there's no chapter next week again, but we'll probably get back on track after this, and then it'll be every week once again. But like I said, all the chapters were very good. They were all about even keel, with all of them making very unique decisions with each of their series. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and as always, thank you for watching.